Welcome back to the channel. This is Dane Scott from Dane Scotts Truckers Lounge. I have a very special person here today. Chad Keegan's with me. He and his wife drove up, took a little drive through. Hopefully they didn't have to come through the tornado and the thunderstorms that we had earlier.
Nope, just one heavy downpour, which was fine. We just slowed down and kept on trucking, I guess, if that's what you'd say.
You had me worried because it was a deluge down here. So I got on the phone and called him and said, "You all right?" He's like, "It's sunshine here." So anyways, he made it safe. So we're going to talk to Chad a little bit and see what makes him tick with these old trucks. Let's get this show on the road, shall we? I guess what I want to know is what you're when I see a guy like yourself, a guy like me that is into these old trucks, and you're running your K100 right now, but I know you normally run your
K100E.
the Aerodyne, right?
Yeah, well, if I can, I guess it just depends which truck is running the best at the time. You know what I mean? I had the K100, and that was my main truck. I bought the K100E because I wanted both trucks. I liked both the styles of them, and eventually I wanted to move on to a day cab also and have all three. Mm-hmm. But you know, I was running the Aerodyne because I wanted that to be the workhorse. It had Jakes. Had a Cat 3406B in it, was the nice, setback axle, so it got around a little bit, and I bought that truck that way if the wife ever wanted to go with me, if we ever moved on to bigger ventures to where, you know, I wasn't doing the local thing. We both had a place to sleep.
Right, yeah.
And, you know, we were still bringing the nostalgia of an old truck running down the road, and you know, even though we had to climb over the doghouse to climb in the back, which we've never had to do that yet.
Yeah, it's different.
It's just something that we haven't got to yet, but we will do that one of these days.
Right.
You know, it's just something that it's a little bit more roomier too than what the blue truck is, the K100, because it's a little bit more, you know, there's just more leg room and stuff,
right,
and more headroom, since it's got the Aerodyne and whatnot. But
you said that's that's got a Cat in it.
Yeah, 3406B.
So is there a big difference between, you know, the Cat and the Cummins there between the two trucks?
To be honest with you, no, because it's a 3406B with a 350 horsepower that was bumped up to 400, and it has a 9-speed also, just like the blue truck is a 350 Cummins with a 9-speed. So they're basically the same trucks. One's just newer, and the blue truck has an Eaton. The green truck has a Rockwell 9-speed in it, and there's a difference between those two transmissions.
Right.
I can tell you that much right now, and so can she.
I didn't realize that. I heard you say it on your channel there.
But yeah, I mean, and I will replace that. Probably get a 13 that way. You know what I'm saying? If we do get on the interstate and ever cruise in the future, I can just kick that up. You know, and we've got more gears to drop those RPMs down. But yeah, that's, you know, I just like running the old trucks because there's the nostalgia, first of all.
Right.
They're cool looking because they're dying breed. You don't see them all the time. They don't make them anymore in the U.S. So that's not something you can just go out and purchase.
Right.
And I'm just like you with old stuff. I like antiques and stuff like that. We go antiquing all the time. And I like to, you know, just find stuff that other people don't want because it's old and they want something new. And I want to take that old thing and make it mine. And regardless of the shape or what, you know, is wrong with the truck, I'm going to make the best of whatever I have, because that's just the kind of person I am. Especially, you know, you're running something like that, you own the title outright, you don't have to worry about a payment. If the thing breaks down, all the money you're making from your revenue you can dump back in that, so you don't have to worry about, you know, if I do break down, am I going to have to make this payment, and, you know, getting washed out at the end because you are losing it because something happened. It's an old reliable truck, basically.
Right.
You know? And both of those trucks had rebuilds on them before I bought them. So, you know, I wasn't really worried about the mechanical aspect. It was more of the little stuff, you know, brakes, hoses, lines, you know, tanks rotting out after time, and things like that that I went through and fixed up on the trucks before I got them on the road, make sure they were DOT'd and safe for everybody. That was around me and me just driving a truck like that, because, you know, something like that that's old, never know what's
Yeah.
going to happen. But even with new stuff, you could have that too, because look at
Exactly,
all the
yeah.
recalls they have for the vehicles that are coming out today.
Yep.
So.
So tell me how Betty White stuck her nose in the business here. How'd that happen?
Well, I wanted a day cab, and I'd been looking for a while, and then I'd seen that one, and it was over in Pennsylvania, and I couldn't pass the price up at the time, you know, because it had a Detroit 11.1 60 series with a 350 also and a 9-speed,
Yeah.
so we're going on the whole loop up
Yep.
the 9 speeds and stuff, and I figured why not have all 3 motors, you know what I mean, might as well. So I seen that, got a hold of the guy, you know, he's like, I got a couple other, I'm like, look, I'll be there on Saturday with cash in my hand and a trailer to tow it. So me and my buddy went and jumped on the turnpike and went and picked it up and brought it back home. And the thing fired right up. I drove it down this hill to load it on the trailer, and we trailered it home and drove it back off the trailer, and it sat for a while. And I was going to sell the blue truck, if you can believe that, because I had a buddy that I used to run with out at the ramp. It was super interested in the truck. First time he seen it, I was like, dude, I want that truck, I want that truck. And every time I would ever say anything about it or we talk about it, he wants the truck. So I'm like, look, dude, as soon as the new tax year comes up, I'll sell you the truck. Well, in February, and I was going to wait until the spring, that way at least got through the winter time. In February, I got into an accident with the green truck.
Right.
Somebody pulled out in front of me, and I couldn't stop, and I hit him, so it's one of those things. And I had to get back in the blue truck because the white truck wasn't ready.
Right,
I was
right.
going to spend all summer messing with that and doing basically what I did with the Frankenstein truck last summer and the blue truck the summer before, just fixing it up and going through it, and it just didn't work out like that. So now I'm back in the blue truck running it, and I should be getting the Frankenstein back within a couple weeks. And I'm just not sure what's going to happen with Betty White. Like, I fired it up, I've got it running and stuff like that on the videos, replacing an airbag,
Yeah,
and
really
it
good.
might be one of those things I just move off of, because we don't know exactly what we're going to do in the future. And having one truck as a backup truck is fine. Having 2 trucks as a backup truck is kind of out of line. And I don't necessarily, everybody says, why don't you fix it up and put a driver in it? Well, some driver's not going to take care of my truck like it's their truck. Right. And it's going to be an older truck. They're not going to like it. They're not going to have all the benefits of a new truck. So I just kind of stay away from that stuff.
Right.
And, it's one of those things I might just let go down the road, or it can sit there until I get time with it, because, it's just, I'm that kind of guy where if I have something, I own the title, it can sit there until I get to it, because I do have a lot of stuff to do. I'm a busy guy. Not only do I work on the trucks, but I also run the trucks too in the afternoon. So most of the time, if I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, I'll spend until about 2 o'clock in the evening, working on the trucks, doing stuff around the house, whatever I've got to do, running out, what have you, and then I'll get in that truck at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and go run loads until midnight, get home at about midnight. So then, go to sleep, relax, get home, have a couple beers, eat some food, and wake up and do the thing the next day.
We kind of talked a little bit about kind of what's the foundation for your. You said you had some. I think you said your grandfather was a driver.
Yeah.
What kind of trucks was he driving? What was he doing?
I think he had a Peterbilt back in the day. I couldn't exactly tell you. It was a long time ago, and I mean, I was little. They lived in Decatur, Illinois, and my grandma and him ended up meeting up on 80-90, the turnpike, when she was living in Ohio, because she moved up there for us when we were kids and stuff like that, just to kind of be around, because that's where they lived for the longest time, and she was working on the turnpike, and they ended up meeting. Then they moved to Decatur, and he was a truck driver. So when I was a kid and would always go to Decatur, that's the kind of stuff I remember.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd be a truck driver when I was in high school. I just thought, work in a factory, it'll be okay. You know what I mean? And then I worked in a factory, got another factory job once I had my daughter, and, I just couldn't stand the union, first of all, the way they acted in a factory situation. No, nothing against unions. I mean, they're good for certain reasons, but at the same time, I just couldn't do it. And, my buddy was a trucker, and he's like, man, you gotta get your CDL, you love this. I love to travel, but I was scared shitless to get in a semi, because I thought, what if I kill somebody? You know what I mean? That was one of the things. And then finally, I got over that hump, and I was like, you know what? I've got to do this, because I do like to travel. I want to see different things, and I want to be able to make a living off of it. And that's kind of what I did in 2008. I quit the factory job, went to school for trucking for 20 days, and was in there with 3 other guys. And our instructor, Gene Kretz, at the end of our class, he said, "You guys, I'm going to retire from this because I'll never have a group as good as you guys. So I'm going to have to be done after this one." And, you know, we all went down, took our test, passed them, came back, and that's when I started my trucking adventure.
Nice, yeah.
So, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, you never know what's going to happen in life. And like I've said in different videos, if anybody's younger watching this stuff, if that's something you're going to want to do and you have a vocational school that you could get into, I highly recommend doing some kind of diesel program because you can get that kind of stuff for free. It's not free, but you get that for a cheaper price
Right.
than if you would go to, you know, some of the bigger stuff after school.
It's always more expensive after school, that's for sure.
Yeah, that way you learn, you pick up your trades now while you're young to where you're my age, you're just killing it. You're going to be killing it.
And I like what you're doing too with the truck shows. You got your little table set up there, and you know kids love this stuff.
Yeah.
You got your wagon there. We were just we were talking about his wagon that he had and how the seats come up in the back, and I remember even myself as a kid riding in the back of a wagon and you know doing the old honk your horn, and the truckers would do that stuff, and you know they were always good to us. I mean, they were always friendly and everything.
You know, and that's a dying breed because a lot of times now nobody wants to help each other out, and a lot of people just fly by you. If I see somebody broke down on the side of the road, if it's or in a parking lot, you know what I'm saying, somewhere where I can help them, get them out of the way, take care of them a little bit, I'll do what I can to help somebody out because. You know, truckers were like knight in shining armor back in the day because they were the first person to stop. They were always wanting to help, regardless of what the situation was. They're the first person to offer help. And now it's kind of a dying breed, you know, to come across someone that would do that for somebody else because everybody's in a hurry. It's a completely different world we live in right now.
It's kind of disappointing when you drive into a show, and I'm sure you've experienced like that Route 11 that you got off on 90 there. It's a 2 lanes each direction here locally, and you can drive down there to Youngstown and other trucks will pass you or go the other way and not even wave or nothing. I'm like, dude, you know what just passed you? Nobody's got that heritage thing anymore. You know?
I mean, me running those trucks, I get a lot of attention for them, and that's basically why I do it, you know, is to be able to bring that nostalgia to people who used to run that stuff, and you know, they can see that and live back their glory days in just from seeing that truck, and that's what really makes me feel good.
Absolutely,
and you know, that's why I continue to do it. I don't need to go and get in something that's newer and make my life easier. I want to relive their days of, you know, glory and what the things they had to go through, and it's just but it also it's what I like to do too. It's a passion to me to be able to work on old stuff and take something apart that I've never done before and be able to fix that up, and it just, you know, it's one of those self-pride things that
and even those guys are around too. We were talking earlier about a car show that I went to, and I took my car to, and they said, hey, go get your truck. So I took the car back, I took the truck down there, and I met 4 old school guys at a car show. I opted to go to that car show instead of a truck show that was also local that day. Glad I did, because I met 4 old school truckers. And they're like, I used to drive one of those, and the stories they had, and man, that's what it's about. So.
Yeah, you never know who you're going to run across with something like that that's going to have a story or that's going to bring back a memory that, you know, you can just make them feel good. You can make their day just from something like that. So,
well, Chad, I appreciate you coming out. It's been great to meet you. And you guys check out Chad's channel, Chad Keegan. He's got some great videos on there.